Alright, so I'm going to show you how to get all the data from like a child inside your Firebase database. And so to start, we're just going to go make a new app inside of Firebase. And you should have cocoapods already installed. If you don't, just leave a comment and I'll make a video on how to install cocoapods. It's pretty easy. Just going to look it up on Google real quick. And then this create a project kind of takes a while, so I skipped ahead a little bit. And then now we're going to click the iOS tab, and then we're going to need a bundle identifier. And so we're going to go over to Xcode, and then we're going to create a new project, just a single view application. And then once that loads up, you'll see the bundle identifier. Don't worry about that, my computer's just fucked up. And then here's your bundle identifier. We'll just copy this real quick. We'll go back over here, paste that here, register. My computer's kind of slow because I got a lot of things running on it. And we're going to download this Google Service Info thing. And then I usually like to just drag it into the folder that my project is in, so I can just keep track of everything that I'm using in the project. And then for me, since I have downloaded so many of these, it comes with a 1, so just delete the 1 and make sure that there's no space at the end or anything like that. And now we're going to head back over to Xcode. We're going to close this out. And don't worry about that, it's just a project I'm working on. Now we're going to open up Terminal. And we're going to CD into the folder with our project. And then this is where you're going to need cocoapods, because we're going to make a pod init file to import Firebase. So we just do a pod init. And then for myself, I use Sublime Text just to do this part because it's just easier. So I'll just drag it in Sublime Text. I usually remove this platform iOS thing because I think it's needed, don't really know. And then you're gonna do pod Firebase and then database and then auth, just like, reassure things. I'm going to close that out, and then we're going to go back to the terminal, and we're going to do a pod install to install all the things like the Firebase, the database, and the authentication. I can make more videos about the authentication. I just always like to install it because I usually use it for all my projects. And then you're going to open up the workspace, not the other file, because you have to work inside workspace now. And then just open all this stuff back up. It's going to have to index everything. And then now we're going to drag in the Google Service Info, and then copy items if needed. And once you got that in there, then you're going to just kind of wait for everything to index, because if you don't wait, then import Firebase won't really show up. So we're just going to head over to the Firebase console while it's loading, and we're just going to make some stuff inside our database. So we're just going to create a new database. Do it in test mode because it's just easier for right now. And once we get this set up, we're going to go into the rules. Oh, also I usually use the real-time database because I don't really fuck with the cloud database. But go into rules. We're going to change the read and write to true, just so we don't have to authenticate anything right now for just test purposes. Then hit publish, and then we're going to head back over to data and just create some dummy data to loop through. I decided just to do some names and just the age, degree, and hobbies of 3 people. So we're going to make Josh, Rachel, and Ron. And I can show you guys later on how to do this from the Firebase, from your application, instead of having to type all this manually. And we're just gonna make all these new ones here, and we're gonna go back to Xcode because it's probably done indexing now. Yep. And so we're gonna import Firebase inside the app delegate, however the hell you want to say it. And then we're going to go into the did finish launching with options, and then do Firebase app.configure to configure your Firebase inside your application. And then I build this so then the whole project knows that Firebase is in it. And for some reason up here it just said that it doesn't know what this is, so I just deleted it and re-imported it, and it worked fine. And then now we're going to make a database reference to like our database with the URL. So to do this, we're going to do database.database.reference with URL. Then we're going to put the string of our database, which is at the top of the Firebase database right there. And so now, since we have created that, we can loop through whatever we really want inside the database. So for right now, we're going to grab all of the names. So we're going to do the ref.child names to get that top entry, that top child node. Then we're going to do observe single event with .value, and then I just call mine snapshot. And here is where the loop goes in. So you're going to do for child and snapshot.children. And so it's going to get all the children inside of names. And so we're going to have to make a snapshot like reference. So I'm just going to do let snap equal child as data snapshot. And then we're going to grab the key, which is going to be the names. And we don't really need the values because there's 3 different values inside of the key. And so for right now, we're just going to print the key, and it's going to print all 3 names that we have inside of the database. And we're going to let that load up, and then we get Josh, Rachel, and Ron. And so then once we have these names, we can now loop through each one of their children. Like inside of Josh, we can get his age, his degree, and his hobby. But to do this, we need to create another reference link because we can't use the same one because it's being used like right now to get the names. And so we're just going to make a names ref one with the same thing as database.database reference with URL. And then after we do that, we can use that one and loop through all of its children of like Josh's name. And we're just going to basically do the same setup. But instead, we're going to also add another child after the child names. And we're just going to do child. And then since we have the name in key, we're just going to put key and then do observe single event. And then the same thing, .value, and then snapshot. And here's like an important thing for this one. You can use the same like for loop, for child, and snapshot.children. But then when you're storing the new snap key and value, but you got to use different names than the ones that were used above because it's in the same loop. So it's just going to overwrite the same like data up top. So we're going to use name snap equals child as data snapshot, and then name key as name snap.key, and then the name value as the name snap.value. And then you got to put an exclamation mark after this one because it will unwrap it so it doesn't pop up as optional. And so now we can print out the keys and the values of each loop. And so if we just do it like this, it's going to say age 21, degree business, and then his hobby football. And then now if we run that, we're just going to see everything get printed out, and you'll see all the names, not just Josh. And then you also have to add self here. Kind of forgot to add that because it's in the view did load. And that loads up, and we get all of the data that we were looking for. It's looking pretty nice. And then we can like add their name since we saved it, since it's still like in the key in the up above data reference, and we can just add that to our print statement. And that's why you have to make them different names because it will just overwrite what like was on the top. So we do key, it's going to say Josh, age 21, Josh, degree, business, Josh, hobbies, football. And we sit there, yeah, it all looks pretty nice. So leave some comments if you need something else done. Just let me know. More videos coming.